Hey, my name is Ishmael Moody, and today we'll be talking about the mindset of making an album. So, making an album, there are certain steps that you need to write down, you need to do to make sure that your album is on the track to success before you even hit the studio behind one of these boards right here. So, here goes. Step number one: songs. 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 Gotta have songs. One of the biggest mistakes you can make when making an album is to roll into the studio unprepared with your songs, with your tunes. When you have tunes, they could be half written, they could be 80% there, they could be 100%. But at least have as many songs as you're gonna want on your album or more. I recommend that artists, if you want to have a 10-song album or a 9-song album, man, at least come in with 13 or 14 fully written or 70%, written songs. The reason why you should have a lot of songs is because when you're in the studio, you don't want to lose momentum. And the biggest way to keep momentum going is, for example, you're working on song A, let's call it summertime. Say it is you guys are hitting the wall. Some ain't feeling right, some ain't vibing right. Except for banging your head against that song over and over and over and over and over again, you could say, okay, let's go to my alternate song right here that it's a different vibe. We could change it all up. It's called, I don't know, Purple Flowers. Alright, from then you can shift that energy, go into the song Purple Flowers, and know in your mind, hey, tomorrow or this afternoon, while I let my ears kind of wash into this new song, when I go back to summertime, that song, I'll probably have like a first perspective, or that, second half of the verse melody will come back to me, blah, blah, blah. So have a lot of songs, have a lot of songs written so you do not lose momentum when you step behind one of these boards. Number two, I strongly believe in small wins. Releasing singles, releasing EPs, a 4-song, 5-song EP, that gives you some small wins. So say if you're in the middle of an album process and you got 3-4 songs done and they're mixed, they're mastered, they're sounding great, you might want to consider releasing some of those songs as a single, releasing that project as an EP, just so you have that small win. Hey, I got something out there, I'm getting some responses back from people. You're not just tunnel vision inside here, just like, oh man, this is song 9, I'm not really liking what I'm hearing. It's very easy for artists to get into that mindset of like, oh man, this is tough, like I'm sounding monotonous, I'm sounding the same, or I'm running out of ideas, X, Y, and Z, multiple different things that can just crawl into your mind and kind of ruin that moment. And some of the ways that you can, when you're first doing your album, that you can kind of curve that negativity or that negative thought process is just to release something out there and get feedback from people. Most of the time, if you're sounding good, you're an artist, I hope, you guys have a good sound and you're staying unique to yourself and you're making art that is something that you love. If you're doing that, your heart is into it, you're going to get positive responses out there. And like, wise people say, you haven't made it until you got some haters. So if you got some haters, that's cool. That means people literally is taking time out to listen to your song and make a negative response of it. So you're probably on a great track, if you got some haters out there. But majority of the time, friends and family, close colleagues of yours, they're going to listen to your stuff and give you some support and give you a little boost to keep that momentum going, so you have those small wins. So when you hit back into the studio, you're like, yo, that worked. Also, another thing that I personally like to do, some people don't do it, but I tell artists to go around town and to play their songs live, unreleased. And the reason why you want to do that is because you can get an instant response of, oh man, that interlude, I kind of lost the crowd a little bit. Or, man, that ending was fire. Like, I got so many claps, it felt good. We got to recreate that. in the studio, or man, I really feel like, this bridge should be doubled. Like, people was wanting more. I felt the energy was just bursting, or, the guys, they got together and they made a very interesting intro that, built all these layers and textures and clouds and all this, pollen and spores. I'm using random, metaphors to describe, spectrum, you know, how you say it, spectrum. What's a good word for it? I don't know. I like to call it gravy. There's some construction going on up there. So if the guitar player, the keys player come up with something great and you're like, man, that sounds really good on the intro, you can come back to the studio, try to recreate that vibe. And so playing those songs out loud in front of people before they get released is a great way for you to get instant feedback, to get those small wins, to keep that momentum going, and completing that marathon, which is called making the album. And lastly, but definitely not the least important thing, actually I think this is the most important step, is having an all-in budget. And when I say all-in budget, I don't mean, hey, how much is it going to take for a person like me to come in and record and produce and add some cool, drum beats and guitar and bass and all that stuff. No, I'm talking about all-in budget. Marketing, rollout plan, if you want to do any kind of influencer marketing, paying for your band to do their, album release show, your album release party. You want to have an all-in budget. And the reason why I say this and I emphasize this to artists is that most of the artists that I work with are independent artists, meaning that they are the label and the artist at the same time. So if you take the word label out of it, I just see labels as banks. They're investment banks. They see an artist, they like them, they invest $250,000 into them, 100,000, 80,000, $1 million into them. Full return. Any bank that's out there, any investment group that's out there, they're not doing something unless they're going to get a positive ROI out of it, period. So if you're an independent artist, you got to think the same way. Hey, this is my business. My product is my songs. My product is that album that I'm putting out, that single that I'm putting out, that EP that I'm putting out. Okay, what is going to be my all-in budget? What is going to get me all the way to, this song going the furthest that it can? What is that all-in budget? That number is definitely dependent on where you're at as a person, financially, if you have someone backing you, if you're blessed and you got parents or family members, an uncle or friend that's willing to throw you some cash because they believe in your process, or you crowdfunded and people, they gravitated onto it and you raised $4,000, $10,000, $20,000. That's your all-in budget. It's, hey, what do I have to work with? And from that all-in budget, you can work yourself backwards. Okay, I'm not going to do a TV ad because I don't have, 300 racks. Plus, don't do TV ads. It'll be a terrible thing for your album to do. But I'm just using that as an example. Okay, I can't do that because it's not my wheelhouse. Okay, what do I have, as marketing abilities to spend on? Can I pay this individual that I know that's in my, hometown that has 100,000 followers on TikTok to do a dance or to lip sync to my song? Could I throw them $200 or $100 to do a post, and then be like, can I do that 5 times? So okay, $500 for here. All right, am I going to do any Instagram story ads? How much I'm going to throw to that? $200, $300, and you start working your way backwards. From marketing, how can I get it all the way out to, okay, how much the studio time is going to cost per hour? If I got some friends that play instruments, or if I want this particular player to be on that, how much is that per player a song? Is there $50 a song? Is there $100 a song? Is that person, $200 per song? man, I want a feature on there. How much is that feature going to cost me? And so you don't have to get a locked in budget, because budget can change throughout, but you got to have an all in budget so you at least know, all right, what the finish line is. Like I said at the beginning of this video, it's a marathon. But a person that runs a marathon, they're not confused about how long this marathon is going to take. There's no mystery to when they start. They can't see the finish line, but they know, like, hey, I'm running a 5K, or I'm running this ridiculous 100-mile, triathlon. They know, okay, here I'm going to do a bike, here I'm going to swim, here I'm going to run, and this run is 25 miles, this bike is 35 miles. They know, they just can't see the end of it. And that's literally how making an album is. You can't see the end of it. It's ambiguous. You have these voice notes on your phone that's, you at the piano, or you at your ukulele, or you at your acoustic guitar just playing, and you're just working through these melodies, and you have the songs kind of roughly out. But when you get inside the studio and you start making production, it might take on, a different vibe. It might take on a different spectrum. So that's the mystery of it. But the end, hey, 10-song album. I'm going to spend this much on influencer marketing. I'm going to try to get 1 or 2 YouTube influencers to put my song in the intro of their YouTube video about their family trip to Disneyland, or to have them shout me out. So you know what steps you're going to do, because that's how labels do it. Whenever these artists release their songs, they're just not on Jimmy Fallon because of, oh yeah, let's try this Jimmy Fallon thing. They're just not on NPR, Tiny Desk because, oh yeah, let's do this NPR Tiny Desk. They're like, no, this is the rollout plan. This is the plan that works. We're going to be on this show. You're going to do this interview. We're going to send it to this music blogger. We're going to send it to this influencer. You have to think like that as an independent artist when you don't have that backing of a label that has 9 to 10 people working on it. And then you just have to, give the product out and then just show up and show your face. So have that all-in budget. Whatever money you do have, that's really going to determine what kind of project that you're going to produce. And so, if you only got $2,000 or, $2,500, an album will be kind of steep unless you can produce yourself, you can engineer yourself, and you're singing, you're doing everything else, because studio time and the production of it is probably going to eat into that 10-song album. So you might just think about, all right, business decision. I only got $2,000. Maybe I do 2 singles, 1 single, and I put a lot of money into marketing. So I get my name out there. I start building brand awareness. So now when I go play shows and I'm flipping merch, okay, yeah, next time around, I got a nest egg of 5,000 because I sold some shirts. I'm building fans. I got, consistent 50 to 120 fans coming out to my shows around town. I'm selling money and I'm making money. That's how businesses work. You got to grow yourself up to that if you do not have the finances, but you got to be realistic with your all-in budget and know what that number is, because if you don't, you might get to a point where you're like, man, I ran out of finances, I ran out of money, and now you're compromising on things you don't want to compromise on. And that's when you're losing your momentum. And that's when the process of making an album becomes an unhappy process. You don't want to do that because you want good vibes all the way through that whole process. You want to feel excited when you come inside here. But you got to put your business hat on if you are an independent artist, because it's music business. So don't forget the business part of the music. So that is the mindset of making an album. If this has helped you out in any kind of way, don't forget to subscribe, because I'm going to be sending out much needed tips for artists and songwriters on any level looking to take their game to the next level. So I'll see you guys in the comments. Be responding to you, and you have a wonderful day.